So Social Enterprise Academy was founded in 2012 in South Africa, and we deliver transformational learning and development programs. We're based in 10 countries globally, and we've got dozens of delivery partners around the world. We also have an 18-year track record of learning and development worldwide, and that gives us access to global trends, case studies, and best practice around the world. So our programs are all contextualized for local communities and conditions, and it's delivered by local hub partners around the world. So we know that there are incredible people around the world delivering social and environmental impact, and we know that the leaders of those organizations need to support to enhance the impact. So this is just a snapshot of what we do around the world and our delivery partners around the world. So our vision is to combine economic activity with community benefits led by dynamic change leaders around the world. So just a quick overview of our model and how we operate. Our programs are led by social entrepreneurs because they've got the on-the-ground knowledge. It's peer-led learning that we focus on. So we really harness the incredible power of practitioners on the ground in terms of our learning and enhancing and basically let that unfold in the room. So our model for transformational learning, just a quick overview, is based on an experience that leads to a behavioral change that leads to social impact. So I'm going to quickly discuss 5 revenue models in South Africa, and I'm trying to make this presentation as practical as possible for you to just have practical examples of incredible people and social entrepreneurs on the ground in South Africa. So first of all, I'm just going to run through the cross-subsidization model. And I've used an example of an excellent social enterprise on the ground that really gives an amazing overview of this model. So a cross-subsidization revenue model is social enterprises that are selling goods and services to subsidize other social programs. So first of all, Marimba is a really great example of this, Marimba Jam. So this is a social enterprise that uses music as a vehicle for social change and nation building in the country. So Marimba Jam provides free music education to underprivileged schools in the country and drumming circle workshops, and it connects youth across social economic barriers in the country. And in every business model, I'm just going to quickly point out some of the innovation in that specific model. So in this model, profitable urban schools are in a sense subsidizing rural underprivileged schools by paying for Marimba Jam lessons on the one side and subsidizing Marimba Jam lessons. And this is also at disadvantaged schools. And this is also one of the first African musical instruments that's been brought into the curriculum of South African schools. So another quick example of cross-subsidization model that I'm going to point out to you is the 18 Gangster Museum. So 18 Gangster Museum is curbing gangsterism in very creative ways. So they first of all focus on reintegrating gangsters back into society, but they also focus on warning youth about the dangers of gangsterism. And the way they do it is they've literally put together a gangster museum that depicts a jail cell, gangsterism memorabilia, some statistics and facts about the dangers of gangsterism, etc. So they create a tourism experience by really depicting an authentic visitor's experience to depict the dangers of gangsterism. So they also use a cross-subsidization model to depict this. They literally get paying tourists from around the world, because Cape Town is really a big tourism destination, to pay for tours going to this museum. And then this subsidizes for groups of children that are subject to gangsterism in their communities to really go for free to the museum. And this is also linked to a global trend of moving towards creating that authentic visitors experiences. So the global trend that it's linked with is just to kind of make anybody visiting the museum feel like a temporary local and really experience what locals are experiencing. The second model I'm going to quickly focus on is the market intermediary model that we see a lot as well in South Africa. So Colors of a Kind is a social enterprise on the ground in South Africa that focus on empowering women in disadvantaged communities by providing sewing skills and garments and then selling it into the European market. So the innovation around this model is once again selling fashion items manufactured by program graduates in Europe, where there's a market for it. And locals on the ground know a lot more about the fashion trends on the ground than fashion houses in Europe. So fashion houses in Europe leverage from their knowledge, and these women get the opportunity to get employed by the organization. So the third module I'm going to quickly focus on is the module of fees and services. So IESA Health is a really great example of this. So fees and services revenue model is focused on products that are socially or environmentally, products or services useful that are sold at a much cheaper price on the ground for people to have access to it on the base of the pyramid. So IESA Health is a social enterprise logistics company. So the problem they are solving is a lot of people in rural areas, in townships in South Africa that are sick and elderly, have to stand for hours on end in queues at clinics for public health care in those areas. And so Sizwe is a social entrepreneur. He's also one of our facilitators. He solved the problem by starting this logistics company where he is employing locals that use their bicycles to deliver medication to the elderly and the sick. So it's sort of a little bit like Uber in a sense, because Uber doesn't own any taxis or any cars, and IESA Health doesn't own any bicycles, but the people he's employing uses their bicycles to then earn an income. And that is kind of using and making better use of existing resources. And this bicycles is really good to navigate rough terrain in townships as well. So the third model I'm just going to focus on now is the employment model. For example, social enterprises that set up specifically to employ individuals that really struggle to access the market in any other way. And a great example of this is I Love Coffee. They own a coffee roastery and a beautiful coffee shop and restaurant. They only employ people that are deaf or people with disabilities. And the innovation around the model is that can be seen even in the takeaway coffee cups, where if you move their coffee cups, you can literally see sign language. So you're being taught sign language. They really create a lot of awareness around the deaf community in the country. And they also tap into the marketing trend that we all know of customers feeling better about themselves to elevate their self-esteem. So, for example, buy a coffee and make a difference. The fifth employment revenue model that I'm going to focus on is the entrepreneurship support revenue model. And an amazing example of this in South Africa is the Clothing Bank. So the Clothing Bank is a social enterprise that literally take unemployed ladies with no other means of income and put them through a 2-year program of turning them into sustainable entrepreneurs that run their own businesses. So how this works is the Clothing Bank get donated clothing stock that are rejects from retailers across South Africa. They resell the stock to these ladies, to this woman, at a much reduced rate. And the ladies then go on and start their own clothing shops where they sell in townships or communities that wouldn't normally be able to afford this quality clothes, and also serve that market in this way. It's an incredible program that really creates so many job opportunities and really help this woman to, in a 2-year program, turn into entrepreneurs that from earning absolutely nothing can earn up to 15,000, 20,000 a month, depending on how hard they work. So the innovation around this model is really seeing waste as a resource and textile upcycling, and then wasteful fast fashion is eliminated by really adding value, because a lot of tweaks and fashion, and there is a bit of design on some of the clothes, but mostly the clothes are just being resold and the women empowered to run their own businesses. So if I can quote my colleague, David Bryan, who's head of sustainable business at Social Enterprise Academy, is social entrepreneurs are often making use of innovation linked to global trends, but for the purpose of creating social impact. So I thought for the purpose of this slot, you would also maybe be interested in Social Enterprise Academy's franchising model and the way we scale globally. So our international replication model work with local hubs and local partners to adapt our content in each country and to be responsive to local needs. So the franchising model is really focused on high quality experience-based learning programs that's developed globally and contextualized locally, and also developed locally by social entrepreneurs if there's a need that's not being met. All of our programs are delivered by practicing social entrepreneurs with on-the-ground knowledge. We don't believe in just academic knowledge. We believe in on-the-ground know-how, and all of our facilitators are social entrepreneurs. And we deliver through local hub partners that's empowered by Social Enterprise Academy hubs around the world. So our local partners, which are local social enterprises, in effect becomes Social Enterprise Academy hubs that are supported to a great extent by the other hubs around the world, and by a global team of change makers of Social Enterprise Academy hubs. So this is a bit of an overview of our impact, and yes, and our sustainability, financial sustainability, cultural impact, etc. And yes, I just wanted to invite you all to work with us to enhance the impact of social entrepreneurs around the world and make a difference with us, partner with us. We love partnering with local organizations and social enterprises to help them to enhance their impact. So thank you so much.